Hello everyone, this is Steve with the Free Bullion Investment Guide. Today is September 7th. I'm doing a review and outlook price analysis video for the US dollar. This is the US dollar's daily chart. And first off, to quickly review last week's video, I'd shown you this rising wedge pattern. If we take a look at it in the 4-hour chart, we can see that it was actually broken slightly to the upside, which would have denied the pattern. But then the price, it was really just a blow off top on the 4-hour chart. And if we look at the daily chart, we can see that it really created a shooting star pattern, and the price of the dollar just ended up confirming the pattern to the downside, considerably confirming the pattern to the downside. And it just fell through most of last week, which was really what was predicted in last week's video, because of the dollar was in overbought territory in the 4-hour chart. If let me show you that real quick. It was in overbought territory clearly on the RSI and the MACD, and there was really no other place for it to go except down last week. But there were also some other things that helped to bring the dollar down. Manufacturing data had come down a little bit from what was forecast, and it looks also like construction spending also came down considerably from what was forecast. It came down considerably from what was forecast, but not considerably from the previous month. So that, you know, it's a little bit better, but really what helped to well, it looks like labor costs were on the rise a little bit, so that could have hurt the U.S. dollar. And factory orders came out above expectations, but really what hurt the dollar as well was the non-farm payroll report on Friday, and we can see that it came down considerably. Those other things helped the price of the dollar go sideways in the 4-hour chart. In the daily chart, you can really just see that it looks like it just tumbled every day, but that really wasn't the case. But on Friday, the non-farm payroll report came out, and it's likely going to give more fuel to the fire to another rate cut. But like I stated in my gold and silver video that will be posted with this one, in the same channel, of course. But what I'm just simply trying to say is that I'm willing to bet that the Fed is going to come out and state that they're going to cut rates by another 25 basis points, which is one thing that I don't think the market wants. I think the market wants a 50 basis point cut, but I'm willing to bet they're not going to get it. And I'm also willing to bet they're not going to hear the Fed say that they're going to continue to cut rates. I really think that they're going to keep their eyes on what happens if this trade war, if there's a deal, and if we get some handshakes and a preliminary deal, I'm willing to bet we're not going to see any more rate cuts. I've been listening and following what other Fed governors have been saying, and most of them don't sound like they're on the side of rate cuts. So even with the inverted yield curve. So for that reason alone, I'm willing to bet that we may see, I mean, well, for one thing, that's not for another 2 weeks, or 10 days before we have the Fed meeting. So really what I'm seeing for the outlook for the US dollar is, one, I see a positive, a very skinny positive falling, expanding wedge, which could likely, let me move to the daily chart real quick. I'm on the daily chart. Let me move to the 4-hour chart. This pattern could be broken real early next week. In the 4-hour chart, we're seeing a possible change in direction in the price in the MACD and the RSI. But for those of you that might be looking for a change direction, in the daily chart, we look like that we're still in overbought territory on the RSI and MACD. So that might not happen. We may not see a change direction early in the week. And plus, I'm also seeing another very large pattern in the price of the US dollar, which, if it lets go, I can point it out to you. Now this pattern I don't expect to be broken for I'd be surprised if it's broken next week, but we'll really have to see. Really have to pay attention to what comes out in the news, because that's what's driving all of the price charts. The price charts normally fundamentally, normally technical analysis will, in a calm market, in better calming, without so much uncertainty and without a trade war for that matter, technical analysis has more bearing. But with all the uncertainties in the market, you really want to pay attention to fundamentals. You really want to hear what's going on in the news, because and pay attention to who's saying what and what they're saying, and really just try to read between the lines and do your own homework on that matter, because technical analysis and in times like this, I mean, you can find patterns, but a lot of times they're not as solid as they could be because of all the uncertainty in the market. But I'm showing a difference in patterns here. We got a positive pattern in the falling expanding wedge here, which the 4-hour chart is clearly showing that we could see a bounce in the price of the US dollar. So we could see the price move higher. Whereas in the daily chart, and that would be early next week, if we see the price move higher. But and then in the daily chart, we're seeing that the price could continue to fall. So it's really, if we do see a move higher, I don't think it will be a considerable move higher, because of what the daily chart says with the MACD and the RSI. I mean, we could clearly see a little pop to the downside, and then a bounce, a large bounce, and we could clearly see that here. I don't know, because of what the fundamentals say, and to say anything beyond that would be disingenuous, and I am not going to be a fortune teller here to say, yes, it's definitely going to do this or definitely going to do that. I'm not that person. If you want somebody that does that, look somewhere else. Anyways, as far as resistance go, if we do see a pop to the upside, I would look to 98.38 or 98.50, definitely 99. And to the downside support, we should see it 97.60, 97.45, or 96.60. So I thank you for your time. That's it for this week's review and outlook. Again, thank you for your time. Take care, and God bless.